So today we're going to be talking about Minecraft servers, in particularly self-hosted Minecraft servers. You can run them 24/7. It's your power bill, it's your internet bill. This is your own server on your own hardware. Right now I have a separate PC running two different Minecraft servers, one on port 25565 and one on port 25566, so you can use the same IP address, just different ports to log in. Anyone can log in to these. These are completely public servers. So I'm on a different computer on my LAN network, even though you can connect to these from any other internet out there. So I have my survival with me and my buddies, and a right now completely blank creative server, which is just super flat world. So if we just take a quick look here, jump into Minecraft, you can see survival world. Got all my stuff. Nothing too important to see here, except yeah, that's basically it. And then in the creative world, it'll just be completely blank. Yeah, it is just a regular redstone. So I think it's 50 blocks of sandstone, 3 blocks of stone, and then the bedrock layer. That's that. Nothing special to see there. The reason why I have two, so say you're on your survival server with a couple buddies, you're not sure what you want to build. You're just like, oh, let's just hop on the creative world, and they're all like, oh, I can't come see. So, I mean, considering it doesn't take much resources to run an idle server with no one on it, especially with a quad core, because JavaScripts are generally 1 or 2 core. They won't take advantage of a quad core. That's why it's be like, oh, everyone jump on the creative server, so I'm going to show you. Everyone jumps on it. Convenience. But let's take a look at the physical server setup I have right now.
So now that we're out of fraps, let's take a look at the actual server. Take a couple steps over here to my other room here. A little bit messy. Excuse that, please. We have the actual server. What I'm running, it's on a overhauled Hardwell Packet PC. It has, I'm not sure about the actual specs. We'll take a look at them now. So now that we're here at the actual server, sorry I don't have any screen capture software on this PC, so we're just gonna have to deal with this. So if we're looking at the specs here, control panel, this is running Windows 7 Ultimate. I just kind of, you know, got it where you get most of your operating systems. So in this system we have 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. We have a i5 2390T CPU at 2.7 gigahertz. What else do we have? We have a 512 megabyte GTX 210, even though we don't need any types of graphics capability for running a Minecraft server. It's just nice to have. That's the specs we're running right now. As you see, I'm running both servers right side by side. I can't actually tell which one's which, but I'm pretty sure the one on this side here is a survival server. This one's the creative. You can see my username, a little bit of my username right there. As we log in and out, we get the logs. These are the two servers. So let me just stop both of them here. Close them out safely. So once we boot into Windows 7 Ultimate, have a folder here, documents, and we have the two servers. So within here we have, this is what you'll normally see in a server. So this is the creative one, I know by the C I have in the name. We have the actual world, logs, crash reports, and we have this launch, even though it's misspelled, the bat file. So we hit that, it'll actually launch the server. So this window here in the command prompt is actually the server itself, even though I do like to have the Java GUI open. So here we have, it started the server. Let me just full screen this. We started the server on this port, so this is the creative server, default game type creative. It loaded in almost half a second. Right now our average tick is 0.155-ish milliseconds, so that's like idle, nobody's on the server, nothing happening at all. I have, each of these have, I think, 2 gigabytes for the creative because there's not much to do, and 4 gigabytes designated RAM allocation for the survival because I do like running them side by side. And this tick, usually this PC can host about 3 players easily with some casual terrain generation, and up to 5 people if no one's generating terrain. And after, if 5 people are on and you're generating some terrain, it will probably pop up above 50 milliseconds per tick, which is when you actually start getting server lag, and it'll come up with a warning message. But I'm just going to hop over and actually log on so you can see what it looks like when someone logs on. So here I have logged on. You can see Donkey's Breath will give me the IP here, even though I'll blur that out because this is the actual active IP of the server, which I don't really want everyone just seeing. It's also my IP address, logged in with entity, blah blah blah. I joined the game. This is just a super flat world, one person in it. Idles about 1.6 milliseconds per tick. And remember, you can go up to 50 milliseconds per tick without any server lag. So that's idling on the creative server. Maybe something may have reloaded there. 2.7 milliseconds. It's really low. So now we're going to take a look at the other server. So here we have the survival server. Because there's a little bit more to load in the spawn chunks, it took 1.7 seconds to load the train, when the super flat world took only 0.6 seconds. So it's a little bit slower. It's idling around 2.1, but it'll go down to about 0.2 milliseconds per tick. So that'll idle down. But I'm going to go ahead and log into this and see what I idle at my base at, so you can just get a little bit of a feel for it. So you see here, I logged in. That's the active IP. You won't be able to see that. Logged in, same ID. I joined the game. Right now we're idling about 4.4. It spikes up every once in a while when a new chunk loads or updates, or a random tick happens. Around 8 milliseconds with one person. And from experience, I know when just loading but not generating chunks, one person will be around 11 milliseconds per tick, which is completely reasonable. And it scales, I would say, about 90% similar accuracy. So I mean, if one person playing is 10 milliseconds per tick, then you have a second person, you'll get about 21 milliseconds per tick. Third person, 33 milliseconds per tick. It scales at about 90%-ish, if I would guess. And that's that. So I'm just gonna go ahead, stop this server. So now we're going to look into the server properties file, which is how I actually have my servers configured. So I'm just going to zoom in here so you guys can see. So max tick time is 60,000 milliseconds, so that's 1 minute. So if it takes a minute to generate a tick, the server will shut itself down for safety reasons. Spawn protection equals 16, that's just your standard. Generator settings for the survival, since it's just a normal world, it's blank, but we'll talk about that later. Force game mode false. This means so that if an op changes your game mode and you leave the game and come back, you'll still be in the one he left you. And allow another true, game mode 0 for survival. Anything else? Difficulty 0. That is currently not what I wanted it to be on. It should actually be on difficulty 2 for normal. Spawn monsters equals 2, op permission level 1. Technically everyone is an operator because level 1 means you can just bypass the world protection, spawn protection. I don't have a resource pack. Announce player achievements true, so that means you'll see other people when they get an achievement. PvP true, you can hit each other. Snooper settings. Snooper enabled true, that's just so that Mojang can keep an eye on it. Level type default, hardcore false, enable command box false, max players 5, so this is the amount of players that are allowed on your server. Network compression threshold, this has a very large range. You could put it lower or higher, but really, unless you really know what you're doing, which I don't, I just leave it at the basic 1 byte. Max world size, you cannot go higher than this. That's approximately 30 million blocks out. You don't want to go above that. Server port 25565, that's the standard Minecraft port, but you can change that to whatever you want. You just have to remember you're going to have to give your friends the right port to enter. Server IP Since I did manual port forwarding on this, I entered my local IP address. You don't have to, you can leave it blank and it should still work the same. Spawn NPCs, yes. Allow flight, false. Level name world, doesn't matter. View distance 10. That's what you basically like a lower end server where you're not going to have many people on. So that means that the max the server will allow a client to load is 10 chunks. So actually I'm going to, because I have a little bit more horsepower to spare, I'm going to put that to 12. Resource pack none, spawn animals true, whitelist false, generate structures true, online mode true. So this means that the server will continue checking to see if people are trying to connect, which is nice. Max build height 256 blocks, that's standard. Level seed, I had a random seed so it's blank, but this and the generator settings, if you type something in there, it will only affect the server when you initially generate it. So if I put a level seed in there right now, even though it has to be numbers, it would do absolutely nothing. And I'm not even going to save these changes. And this is just called the mod, so this is what it'll say when you put your IP address in to see like Mineplex, blah blah blah. But I have it Donkey's Bet server and S for survival, and I don't want to save that. So that is the survival. Now if we look at the creative, it'll be slightly different. I'm just going to jump right to the difference. Generator settings. This is a code that I pulled off Planet Minecraft, if I'm not mistaken, for the super flat redstone ready world. Remember, this has to be in there before you actually generate your first trainer and boot the server. So if you can look through it, customize it, it goes there. You have to make sure if you're going to do something like this, so leave it there. What else do you have to change? Level type, instead of default or amplified, you have to go flat, or else it'll just generate normal. And everything else is the same except the port, which is 25566. I'm not sure where it is in here, but it is here. Trust me, there it is, 25566. Everything else is the same except for game mode 1 and force game mode is true. So those are the same, so just
you will have to both port forward for both servers you're running onto the two different ports in my router setup. So I'm going to go to my IMS bookmarks here, log into my modem, and we're going to go applications, gaming, port range forwarding. Now you can see here I have for the IP address, my local IP address, blah 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 dot 114. That's what my server is currently at. So I have the ports open both for 25565 for the survival protocol both, and the same thing down here for 25566 for the creative. They're both enabled. Save those settings. That's all I've really done for port forwarding. It was a little bit tricky to figure it out at first, but it's easy once you know what you're doing. And that's that. So that's all I really did for port forwarding.
So this is all that there is for this video. That's it. But if you have any questions about creating your own Minecraft server, if a PC will be good enough to run a Minecraft server, then just message me. I can answer any questions there are about vanilla servers. Even I'm planning on doing a Bukkit video, maybe if I actually ever do upgrade to Bukkit, because most of the people I play with just want vanilla and no plugins, and especially no modded, because they do not have PCs powerful enough to run the client. So that's the two servers I run on the same PC. It has a quad core, which means it can handle load on both, because once again you're only ever using a single core for a Minecraft server. So there's 4 cores, 2 are taken up by a server, 1 kind of for the operating system, and then the 4th could be kind of for like some background processes, even though they don't run anything here. That's how it manages, and that's it. So if you have any questions, just message me right in the comments. I'll see it. I'll get to it as soon as I usually respond within a day or so. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you.